The following program is a SUTV student production. The views expressed are not necessarily those of Salisbury University, the University System of Maryland, its regents, administration, officers, employees, or representatives.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Daelyn Funk and this is SUTV News. In last week's broadcast, SUTV covered what students of Salisbury University thought of the budget cuts for the campus. Most were upset about the cut hours for facilities such as the Academic Commons and the University Fitness Center. Fortunately, SUTV's Alex Fregger had the honor of speaking to President of Salisbury University himself, Dr. Charles Wight, where he clarified some speculations about the budget cuts. Here's Alex Fregger for more on the story.
With students wondering why buildings like the library have shortened hours this semester, SUTV interviewed Salisbury University President Charles Wight about the apparent budget cuts on campus. According to Wight, Salisbury's funding has actually increased this semester. However, how funds are allocated has changed.
The budget of the university went up about 1.5% for this fiscal year. The budgets for discretionary spending are a little bit tighter this year than they were last year.
Wight continued to say that the new budgeting structure the university put in place gives more financial control to the individual colleges.
The first thing that we did was to push responsibility for budgeting. Instead of doing it all centrally, we pushed it out to the divisions and the colleges and to a certain extent to the departments themselves. Instead of doing everything here in the Park building, we decided to push that responsibility out to the vice presidents and to the deans and directors because they know better than anybody else how we need to spend money in the best way to serve students.
Wight did note that there was, however, less discretionary funding due to pay raises.
There were changes to Maryland law, which required an increase in the minimum wage. And so even though the budget of the university went up by only 1.5%, some people's wages went up by a lot more than that. And so we had to take some money from discretionary spending and put it into compensation where we were mandated by law to do that.
Wight continued by saying that the budget being adjusted was not the cause of the library hours being changed.
Well, the decision about the library in particular was done before the budgeting process, and that was a result of the fact that we were spending a lot of money for security and police for a number of students and others in the library that was as little as 5 in the middle of the night. And so we decided to close the library most of the time at night during the hours when there were the fewest people there.
When asked if these changes to the budget would be maintained, Wight did confirm that the pressure put on funds would continue.
Well, I think there will continue to be some pressure on our budgets, but what students can depend on is that we are looking for ways to spend precious dollars, tuition dollars, and Maryland state taxpayer dollars in ways that best benefit students and have the least waste possible.
Wight finished with what he said his plans for the future of the university were.
We're in the process of finalizing a strategic plan for the university, and students are really at the center of that strategic plan. So as we move forward, we will be keeping students front and center in our minds when we do processes like budgeting.
For SUTV News, I'm Alex Fregger.
Although the library hours may be cut for the semester, President Wight does understand the higher demand for later library hours during finals season. Because of this, Academic Commons will be open 24 hours for finals week. In other news, Salisbury University is gearing up for the 2020 U.S. Census, and not just with local residents, but also with students. Starting in the spring, students in dorms and in off-campus housing will be counted by the city. SUTV's Burke talked to City Administrator Julia Glanz, who is spearheading the event for the city.
So the 2020 census is quickly approaching. The actual beginning of counting that most people will see happens April 1st, but we're sort of in the preparation phase now and awareness phase. And we have, working with the Wicomico County, we've put together a complete count committee, and that's made up of various stakeholders, leaders in different groups in the community, to make sure that we're understanding sort of people that have been miscounted in the past and making sure we don't make those mistakes anymore. Developing a plan of outreach, going to events, things like that at this point.
Director of Housing and Residence Life, Dave Gutowski, is planning to work on his third census with the university in 2020. He is optimistic about the counting in the dorms. He is hoping he is able to get a more accurate representation of students in off-campus housing.
We have 2,300 students that live on campus. We have almost 900 students that live at University Park. So we're pretty confident we'll be able to capture that number and have a really good return. But it's all our off-campus students. You know, we've got 4,000 students that live in the neighborhood. We'll also work with student government and student organizations, and I think we'll be able to, if we cast that net to, you know, fraternities, sororities, student activities, athletics. I mean, so many of our athletes live off campus. We have coaches working that. If we really do a comprehensive approach, I think the university can have a really nice return.
Resident assistants will have a training on the upcoming census counting in January. In Gull Life news, SU's Student Government Association kicked off their annual homecoming this past Sunday. Events included a Panhell color run, bingo, a celebration of Oktoberfest, and many more to come as homecoming continues this week. SUTV got the chance to check out the third annual Culture Shock fashion show last night. Here's Susannah with more on the event.
SGA kicks off their third day of homecoming week this past Tuesday by highlighting their main event, the third annual Culture Shock fashion show. Multicultural student clubs and organizations participated in the show by walking the runway dressed to the theme of unity in film. Participating groups chose a film or television series that brings cultural impact and dressed accordingly to walk in the fashion show. SGA's Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Dorian Rogers, discusses his experience coordinating the event.
I was worrying because, you know, historically this event's been very stressful. I know this year it was very stressful just getting back and forth, but, you know, with the help of my senators, with the help of my fellow directors, you know, we were able to bring the community together and have an actual fashion show. And again, with the community coming together, it turned out to be a beautiful event, and I'm pumped right now. I'm pumped.
The show was not only fun and engaging for the audience, but also for participants of the show. Vanity's Diamond Benton discusses her experience with walking the runway with her fellow club members.
It's very empowering and builds confidence, and it was just really fun to be on the stage. Speaking about Vanity specifically, it's a lot more diverse than it was last semester, so that in itself I'm impressed by, and then the show by itself I think it was pretty diverse.
SGA's Culture Shock fashion show celebrates Salisbury's diverse community and brings together people of all cultures.
At the end of the day, you know, there's different cultures that make up our community. And, you know, I just wanted to bring each culture together to celebrate what makes us one community. Because, you know, people like to say, you know, we may be different, but at the end of the day, we still make up one flock. So I wanted to bring the community together and have a good time. And as you can see, we're still getting lit right now. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the community came together and we made this a pretty amazing event.
For SUTV News, I'm Susannah.
Salisbury University celebrates more victories in athletics. Let's head over to Peter for your SUTV sports update.
Good evening, Seagulls. I'm Peter Schoff, and this is SUTV Sports. At the top of the news, Salisbury University's field hockey team has been on an unbeaten streak over the past week, winning 3 games out of 3. Wednesday, the 9th, the Seagulls defeated Wesleyan at home. In this dominating performance, 7 different goals scored to contribute to the large margin of victory. The next match on Saturday, the 12th, resulted in a 2-0 victory over St. Mary's. This one was quickly won as Cameron Dennis and Mackenzie Mitchell scored for the goals within the first 10 minutes. The women faced Wesley on the 15th and wrapped up their 3-game winning run with a 3-0 victory. Tara Flavin started the scoring in the 12th minute when she finished off her own rebound. Megan Jalico wrapped up the win with a double in 2 minutes as she scored on the 36th and 38th minute. The women's field hockey team are now 12-1 overall and will look to continue their great pace of play. In other news, men's football played St. Mary's this weekend in a tight affair. The game started on the wrong foot as Marcellus Pack scored a 51-yard touchdown on St. Mary's first play of the game. St. Mary's scored again on a Wildcat rush on the ensuing drive to give St. Mary's a 14-0 lead. A 40-yard Jack Lanham touchdown to Leonard Prue helped cut this first quarter deficit 14-7. The goals came out gunning in the second quarter and tied the game 14-14 with a 20-yard rushing touchdown from Shamir Gray. Chad Gleason's 3-yard rush later in the quarter put the goals up 21-14, and Wesley tied the game at 21 when they scored on the next drive to make it 21-21. Bert Schrogenost ended the quarter with a field goal to make it 24-21 at the half. Jack Lanham started the third quarter with a touchdown rush for the goals. Wesley responded with a touchdown, and Salisbury responded again. Shamir Gray had another touchdown with a 7-yard rush to extend the lead 34-24. St. Mary's offense was held to a field goal to start the fourth quarter, making the game 34-27. Salisbury had a response for this as well, with another Shamir Gray touchdown on the ensuing drive. After making it a 45-31 game, St. Mary's scored again to make the game 45-38, but were stalled by the Seagulls for the rest of the game, and it ended with a 45-38 Seagull win. The Gulls have now moved on to 4-0 on the season. And that's all this week for SUTV Sports. I'm Peter Schoff, and let's head over to Dalencia for the weather.
Thanks, Peter, and welcome to your weekly weather update. We all felt the fall temperature coming into our region finally. Across the United States, we've had a nice cool down. On the Delmarva Peninsula, we've had temperatures that has been into the lower to mid 60s. So we all felt that rain that came through our region as well. Well, that's well offshore. So now tomorrow we will feel some very windy conditions. As you can see these lines going across, that means wind. So we're gonna have some windy conditions, so you might wanna hang on to your hats. And as we go on to Friday for our weekend and the weekend homecoming festivities, we will have beautiful skies with this high pressure that will be replacing that low pressure with that wind. And this is Saturday as well, so as you go to the game and the car show, you'll have nice weather, so you don't have to worry about anything. And as we move on into next week, on Tuesday, we'll have a chance of thunderstorms. So look out for that as this cold front comes into our region. So tonight we'll have temperatures of 48 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Tonight we will also feel that wind coming into our region as well. On tomorrow, like I said, it's going to be windy. We'll have 63 degrees, and on tomorrow night we'll have temperatures of 46 degrees with clear skies as well. On Friday, we'll have 63 degrees, clear skies. On Saturday as well, 67. And then on Sunday, as that cold front is starting to come into our region, that the clouds will precede that cold front, giving us temperatures of 71, And on Monday, we'll have temperatures of 74. On Tuesday, that's where that disturbance is going to come into our region, giving us a chance for thunderstorms with 70 degrees. And then on Wednesday, clear skies with a temperature of 67. That's all for weather. Now to Gillian with our Gull Life update.
Thanks, Dalencia. It's that time of the year again. SGA's Homecoming Week is in full gear with plenty of fun events for you to get involved in. I'm Gillian Van Ditta, and this is your SUTV Gull Life update. Do you love to roller skate? SGA is teaming up with Crown Sports Center to host a skate night. Head over to Fruitland tomorrow, Thursday, October 17th from 9 p.m. to midnight to skate with fellow SU students and even the Salisbury community. There will be an entrance fee, which includes skate rental of $3.25 with your Gull card. There will also be a homecoming weekend kickoff on Friday, October 18th. Enjoy a cookout and performances by SU cheerleaders, Palms, and the pep band with Minute to Win It games. Check this out at Red Square on Friday from noon to 3 p.m. SOAP will be continuing their movie nights for homecoming week. Halloween is right around the corner, so the SOAP is hosting a viewing of Jordan Peele's terrifying film Us on Friday, October 18th at 8 p.m. in Devilbiss Hall, room 123. But if you're not a fan of horror, SOAP will also be hosting a viewing of the live-action Disney version of The Lion King on Saturday, October 19th at 7 p.m., also in Devilbiss Hall, room 123. Popcorn will be served. And also on Saturday, SGA will be hosting a flock party before the big homecoming football game against Rowan at 1 p.m. Come out for carnival amusements from bounce houses to obstacle courses to face painting and much more. The flock party will be on Saturday, October 19th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Wayne Street near Siegel Stadium. And that's all for your Gull Life update. I'm Gillian Van Ditta. Back to you, Daelyn.
Thanks, Gillian. Well, that wraps up our SUTV newscast for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, I'm Daelyn Funk for your SUTV News. Your station, your story.